Hello viewers, welcome to City Report. Today we are gonna explore state Ohio. Let's get started. Ohio is the state in the Midwestern region of the United States. Of the 50 states, it is the 34th largest by area and with a population of nearly 11.7 million is the 7th most populous and 10th most densely populated. The state's capital and largest city is Columbus. With the Columbus metro area, Greater Cincinnati, and Greater Cleveland begin the largest metropolitan areas. Ohio is bordered by Lake Erie to the north, Pennsylvania to the east, West Virginia to the southeast, Kentucky to the southwest, Indiana to the west, and Michigan to the northwest. Ohio is historically known as the Buckeye State after its Ohio Buckeye trees. Ohioans are also known as Buckeyes. The state takes its name from the Ohio River, whose name in turn originated from the Seneca word Ohio, meaning good river, great river, or large creek. Ohio arose from the lands west of Appalachia that were contested from colonial times through the Northwest Indian Wars of the late 18th century. It was partitioned from the resulting Northwest Territory, which was the first frontier of the new United States and became the seventh state admitted to the Union on March 1, 1803, and the first under the Northwest Ordinance. Ohio was the first post-colonial free state admitted to the Union and become one of the earliest and most influential industrial powerhouses in the 20th century, although it has transitioned to a more information and service-based economy in the 21st century. Ohio remains an industrial state, ranking 7th in GDP as of 2019 with the third largest manufacturing sector and second largest automobile production. The government of Ohio is composed of the executive branch led by the governor, the legislative branch consisting of the bicameral Ohio General Assembly, and the judicial branch led by the state Supreme Court. Ohio occupies 16 seats in the United States House of Representatives. The state is known for its status as both a swing state and a bellwether in national elections. 7 presidents of the United States have come from Ohio, the most of any state. This has led to it receiving the moniker the Mother of Presidents. Ohio's geographic location has proven to be an asset for economic growth and expansion because Ohio links the Northeast to the Midwest. Much cargo and business traffic passes through its border along its well-developed highways. Ohio has the nation's 10th largest highway network and is within a one-day drive of 50% of North America's population and 70% of North America's manufacturing capacity. To the north, Ohio has 312 miles of coastline with Lake Erie, which allows for numerous cargo ports such as Cleveland and were defined by metes and bonds in the Enabling Act of 1802 as follows. Bounded on the east by the Pennsylvania line, on the south by the Ohio River to the mouth of the Great Miami River, on the west by the line drawn due north from the mouth of the Great Miami aforesaid, and on the north by an east and west line drawn through the southerly extreme of Lake Michigan, running east after intersecting the due north line aforesaid from the mouth of the Great Miami until it shall intersect Lake Erie or the territorial line, and thence with the same through Lake Erie to the Pennsylvania line aforesaid. Let's talk about top 10 places you must visit in Ohio. Number 10. Stan Hyatt Hall and Gardens. Stan Hyatt Hall and Gardens is a historic house museum in Akron, Ohio. The estate includes gardens and greenhouse, carriage house, and the main mansion, one of the largest houses in the United States. A National Historic Landmark, it is nationally significant as the home of F.A. Sieberling, co-founder of the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. The estate was built between 1912 and 1915 for F.A. Sieberling and his wife, Gertrude Penfield Sieberling. They named their American country estate Stan Hyatt, loosely translated from Old English meaning stone quarry or stone hewn, to reflect the site's earlier use and the abundant stone quarries located on the grounds of the Evil Dairy estate. F.A. and Gertrude hired 3 professionals to shape the outcome of this home building project: was landscape designer Warren Manning, New York City interior designer Hugo Huber, and Cleveland architect Charles Schneider. Schneider originally pitched his design as an employee of George Post and Sons, a New York City architectural firm. Schneider left the company in 1913 but retained creative control and oversight of building project. In April 1912, the Sieberlings, with oldest daughter Irene and architect Schneider, traveled to England to tour approximately 20 manor homes to gather inspiration for the home's design. 3 English country homes served as the inspiration for Stan Hewitt: Compton Vineyards, Ockwells Manor, and Haddon Hall. Interior designer Hugo Huber worked with Gertrude Sieberling to furnish the home's interior. The pair made frequent shopping trips to New York City, and Huber traveled with F.A. and Gertrude to England in January 1915 to look at antique pieces for the home. Gertrude initially wanted to furnish the entire home in period appropriate Tudor antiques, but F.A. argued that the large family would need comfortable furnishing. Huber compromised by integrating a selection of Tudor antiques with contemporary 1915 furnishings that were made to look antique and fit the overall decor of the home. The estate grounds, originally about 1,500 acres in extent, were designed between 1911 to 1915 by Boston landscape architect Warren H. Manning and remain today one of the finest examples of his work. Manning sited the house at the edge of the quarry wall, overlooking a nearby valley and rolling hills in the distance. Number 9. Cleveland Museum of Art. The Cleveland Museum of Art is an art museum in Cleveland, Ohio, located in the Waite Park district, in the University Circle neighborhood on the city's east side. Internationally renowned for its substantial holdings of Asian and Egyptian art, the museum houses a diverse permanent collection of more than 61,000 works of art from around the world. The museum provides general admission free to the public. With a $755 million endowment, it is the fourth wealthiest art museum in the United States, with about 770,000 visitors annually. It is one of the most visited art museum in the world. The Cleveland Museum of Art was founded as a trust in 1913 with an endowment from prominent Cleveland industrialists Hinman Hulbert, John Huntington, and Horek Kelly. The neoclassical white Georgian marble Beaux-Arts building was constructed on the southern edge of Waite Park at the cost of $1.25 million. Waite Park and the museum were designed by the local architectural firm Hubble and Beans, with the museum planned as the park's centerpiece. The 75 acres green space takes its name from philanthropist Jeb Wade, who donated part of his wooded estate to the city in 1881. The museum opened its door to the public on June 6, 1916, with Wade's grandson, Jeb H. Wade II, proclaiming it for the benefit of all people forever. Wade, like his grandfather, had a great interest in art and served as the museum's first vice president. In 1920, he became its president. In March 1958, the first addition to the building opened, doubling the museum's floor space. This addition, which was on the north side of the original building, was designed by the Cleveland architectural firm of Hayes and Ruth. They designed new gallery space and new art library. The museum again expanded in 1971 with the opening of the north wing, with its step 2-ton granite facade. The addition, designed by modernist architect Markel Breuer, provided angular lines in distinct contrasts with the flourishes of the 1916 building's neoclassical facade. In 1983, a west wing, designed by the Cleveland architectural firm of Dalton, Van Dyke, Johnson and Partners, was completed. This provided larger library space as well as 9 new galleries. Number 8. Franklin Park Conservatory. Franklin Park Conservatory and Botanical Gardens is a botanical garden and conservatory located in Columbus, Ohio. It is open daily and an admission fee is charged. Today it is horticultural and educational institution showcasing exotic plant collections, special exhibitions and Dale Chihuly artworks. The conservatory contains more than 400 plant species. Biomes representing global climate zones include Himalayan mountains, tropical rainforest, desert, and Pacific Island water garden. Additional plant collections include a bonsai courtyard, show house with seasonal displays, orchids and tropical bonsai collections, and palm house with more than 40 species of palms. The conservatory is set within the Franklin Park neighborhood and surrounded by Franklin Park, the 88-acre city park of the same name. The conservatory was built in 1895 and was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1974. Franklin County Agriculture Society purchased 88 acres of land 2 miles east of downtown Columbus to host the first Franklin County Fair in 1852. By 1874, the Franklin County Agricultural Society agreed on the importance of this piece of land, increased the size to 93 acres, and made it the official site of the Ohio State Fair. The State Fair occupied the site until 1884, when it moved to a new location north of Columbus. With the change, the lot was abandoned, but on May 17, 1886, the site was officially revived when the Ohio State Legislature passed a resolution declaring it open for use as a public park and open to the public in 1895 as the Franklin Park Conservatory. In 1994, Franklin Park Conservatory debuted Blooms and Butterflies, becoming the first conservatory in the nation to showcase a seasonal butterfly exhibition. It was an instant success. Since then, the annual exhibition features thousands of tropical butterflies flying through the Pacific Island Water Garden. It attracts thousands of visitors each year, and other conservatories throughout the nation have followed suit. Number 7. Cincinnati Museum Center. The Cincinnati Museum Center is a museum complex operating out of the Cincinnati Union Terminal in the Queensgate neighborhood of Cincinnati, Ohio. It houses museums, theaters, a library, and a symphonic pipe organ, as well as special traveling exhibitions. The Museum of Natural History and Science includes a space called Dinosaur Hall, featuring skeletons and fossils, including skeletons in the Gallimimus, Daspletosaurus, and Torvosaurus genera. The Torvosaurus skeleton installed in 2018 is the most complete skeleton of the genus at 55% complete and the only Torvosaurus skeleton publicly exhibited. The Natural History Museum also includes a reproduction of a limestone cave. The exhibit, titled The Cave, was first installed as The Cavern in the museum's Gilbert Avenue location in 1967, 10 years after the location opened. It was reinstalled in Union Terminal around 1994. It was designed to resemble Mammoth Cave National Park, the longest cave system in the world, in nearby Kentucky. Workers with extensive cave knowledge sculpted the cave from gunite. The exhibit has 2 levels and spans for 500 feet. It includes an underground stream and vertical cavities, one of which is 40 feet high. Beginning in the early 1980s, the Cincinnati Historical Society and Cincinnati Museum of Natural History were searching for large spaces. Both had their origins in the early mid-1800s, and the Historical Society was interested in creating a museum. The most favorable options in their studies were to join together in occupying space in Union Terminal. In May 1986, the voters of the surrounding county approved $33 million in funding to transform the building into museum space. The state of Ohio provided $8 million. The society provided $3 million, while about 3,000 individual corporations and foundations also donated to the effort. Talk show host and former Cincinnati Mayor Jerry Springer was one of the major proponents of saving the building and transforming it into a museum. The terminal's 2 lakh square feet of underground space, then used as parking space, as well as its taxi and bus ramps, were renovated into exhibition space. The main concourse was restored. Retail space was refurbished and the theater was restored. The entrance to the train concourse was renovated into the OmniMax Theater, and the men's lodge became Amtrak's waiting room and ticket counter. In 1986, the Union Terminal Association was created to facilitate long-term preservation of the terminal. The organization included community members and city and county officials. The UTA leased the building from the city and searched for tenants. The UTA joined the Historical Society and Museum of Natural History in creating the Heritage Center at Union Terminal. Number 6. Columbus Zoo and Aquarium. The Columbus Zoo and Aquarium is a non-profit zoo located near Powell in Liberty Township, Delaware County, Ohio, United States, north of the city of Columbus. The land lies along the eastern banks of the O'Shaughnessy Reservoir on the Scioto River at the intersection of Riverside Drive and Powell Road. It has a worldwide reputation, largely attributable to the efforts and promotion of director emeritus Jack Hanna. In 2009, it was named by the USA Travel Guide as the #1 zoo in the United States. It was also ranked #1 best zoo in 2012 by Bestie's Reader's Choice. The Columbus Zoo is home to more than 7,000 animals, representing over 800 species, and sees over 2.3 million visitors annually. The animal exhibits are divided into regions of the world, with the zoo currently operating 8 such regions. In addition, the zoo owns an 18-hole golf course known as the Safari Golf Club, which encompasses 140 acres. The zoo also owns Zumbizi Bay, which encompasses 22.70 acres. In total, the zoo owns 580 acres of land, with 406.30 acres of dedicated to the zoo itself. The zoo operates its own conservation program, donating money to outside programs as well as participating in their own conservation efforts. Over the past 5 years, the zoo has contributed over $3.3 million to more than 70 projects in the 30 countries. The zoo also has a close working relationship with the Wilds, a 9,154-acre animal conservation center located in southeast Ohio and featured on the Columbus Zoo's website. The first zoo in Columbus, known as the Zoo, was operated by the Columbus Zoological Company, not affiliated with today's Columbus Zoo. It was located in the present-day Old Beechwood Historic District in Clintonville. The zoo opened in May 1905 but closed for unknown reasons only 5 months later in October 1905. The former monkey house can still be seen on the property of 150 West Beechwold Boulevard, where it is used as a barn. The zoo's original brick entrance can also be seen on North High Street and Beechwold Road. The present Columbus Zoo opened in 1927 as the Columbus Zoological Gardens. The city of Columbus took over management of the zoo in 1951, but later gave up ownership to the Zoological Park Association, a non-profit organization, in 1970. The city continued providing funds from the city's general fund, however, until 1986. Number 5. Amish Country. The Amish are a group of traditionalist Christian church fellowship with Swiss German and Alsatian and Baptist origins. They are closely related to Mennonite churches. The Amish are known for simple living, plain dress, Christian pacifism, and slowness to adopt many conveniences of modern technology with a view to not interrupt family time nor replace face-to-face conversations whenever possible. The history of the Amish church began with a schism in Switzerland within a group of Swiss and Alsatian Mennonites and Baptists in 1693 led by Jacob Amman. Those who followed Amman became known as Amish. In the second half of the 19th century, the Amish divided into Old Order Amish and Amish Mennonites. The latter do not eschew motor cars, whereas the Old Order Amish retain much of their traditional culture. When people refer to the Amish today, they normally refer to the Old Order Amish. In the early 18th century, many Amish and Mennonites immigrated to the Pennsylvania for a variety of reasons. Today, the Old Order Amish, the New Order Amish, and the Old Beachy Amish, as well as Old Order Mennonites, continue to speak Pennsylvania German, also known as Pennsylvania Dutch. Although two different Alemannic dialects are used by Old Order Amish in Adams and Allen counties in Indiana. As of 2000, over 165,000 Old Order Amish lived in the United States and about 1,500 lived in Canada. A 2008 study suggested their numbers had increased to 227,000, and in 2010, a study suggested their population had grown by 10% in the past 2 years to 249,000, with increasing movement to the west. Most of the Amish county continue to have 6 or 7 children, while benefiting from the major decrease in infant and maternal mortality in the 20th century. Between 1992 and 2017, the Amish population increased by 149%, while the US population increased by 23%. The Anabaptist movement, from which the Amish later emerged, started in circles around Ulrich Zwingli, who led the early Reformation in Switzerland. In Zurich on January 21, 1525, Conrad Grebel and George Laroque practiced adult baptism to each other and then to others. This Swiss movement, part of the Radical Reformation, later became known as Swiss Brethren. Number 4. Hocking Hills State Park. Hocking Hills State Park is a state park in the Hocking Hills region, Hocking County, Ohio, United States. In some area, the park adjoins the Hocking State Forest. Within the park are over 25 miles of the hiking trails, rock formations, waterfalls, and recess caves. The trails are open from dawn to dusk all year round, including holidays. The park contains 7 separate hiking areas: Ash Cave, Cantwell Cliffs, Cedar Falls, Conclave Hollow Nature Preserve, Old Man's Cave, Rock House and Hemlock Bridge Trail to Whispering Cave. Hocking County was named after the Hockhocking River. Hockhocking in the Delaware tongue signifies a bottle. The Hockhocking River has a waterfall of nearly 20 feet located above 6 or 7 miles northwest of Lancaster. Above the falls, the creek was very narrow and straight, forming the bottleneck. The Hockhocking enters the county from Good Hope Township in the northwest and then flows southwest, touches Marion Township, continues through Falls and Green Townships, and exits the county through northwestern Star Township. The river is then in Athens County. More than 330 million years ago, the Hocking Hills State Park area was relatively level and was covered by the waters of the Atlantic Ocean. For millions of years, the ocean's currents deposited immense amounts of sand and gravels. After millions of years, the ocean receded and the sandy layers bonded with silica to form the blackhand sandstone that underlines the area. It formed like a sandwich with a hard top and bottom and a soft middle layer. When the Appalachian Mountain arose, form and feature were cast upon the area and created Hocking Hills State Park. There are about 200 campsites in the park, most equipped with electricity. The campground is close to all of the hiking trails in the area and has flush toilets, shower houses with hot water, vending machines, a camp store, a pool, and other amenities. The area also has many cabins and hotels in this area. In 2017, over 2 million people visited Hocking Hills. To handle the growing tourism, a summer shuttle service from downtown Logan began to lessen the overtaxing on the park's parking facilities. The Ohio Department of Natural Resources broke ground on a new visitors center. The $6 million project opened in June 2019. Number 3. Cedar Point. Cedar Point is a 364-acre amusement park located on a Lake Erie peninsula in Sandusky, Ohio. Opened in 1870, it is considered the second oldest operating amusement park in the United States, behind only lake compounds. Cedar Point is owned and operated by Cedar Fair and is considered the flagship of the amusement park chain. Known as America's Roller Coaster, the park features a world record 71 rides, including 17 roller coasters, the second most in the world behind Six Flags Magic Mountain. Its newest roller coaster, Steel Vengeance, opened to the public on May 5, 2018. Cedar Point's normal operating season runs from early May until Labor Day in September. The park then reopens only on weekends until the end of the October or early November for a Halloween-themed event known as Halloweekends. Other attractions near the park includes a 1-mile-long white sand beach, an outdoor water park called Cedar Point Shores, an indoor water park called Castaway Bay, 2 marinas, an outdoor sports complex called Cedar Point Sports Center, and several nearby resorts. The park has reached several milestones. It is the only amusement park in the world with 6 roller coasters that are at least 200 feet in height: Magnum XL 200, Millennium Force, Wicked Twister, Top Thrill Dragster, Valraven, and Steel Vengeance, as well as the only one with roller coasters in all 4 height classifications. Cedar Point also received the Golden Ticket Award for Best Amusement Park in the World from Amusement Today for 16 consecutive years from 1997 to 2013. The park is in the top 20 amusement parks in the United States with an estimated 3.6 million visitors in 2017. The park also has several buildings that are listed on the National Register of Historic Places in the late 19th century. The South Shore region of Lake Erie became a popular vacation destination for the emerging middle class in the United States. The lake's islands, such as Gillies Island and South Bass Island, were gaining a reputation for their freshwater bathing resorts. The Cedar Point Peninsula, named for its abundance of cedar trees, was originally known for its fishing. Local fishermen leased land and built living quarters there. Sandusky, which featured an important shipping harbor and 2 railroads, transformed into a major economic center over the next 3 decades. Railroad and steamship travel supported an emerging tourism industry, and rapid development of the area began. Number 2. Museum of U.S. Air Force. The National Museum of the United States Air Force is the official museum of the United States Air Force located at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, 6 miles northeast of Dayton, Ohio. The NMUSAF is the oldest and largest military aviation museum in the world, with more than 360 aircraft and missiles on display. The museum draws about 1 million visitors each year, making it one of the most frequently visited tourist attractions in Ohio. The museum dates to 1923, when the engineering division at Dayton's McCook Field first collected technical artifacts for preservation. In 1927, it moved to then White Field in a laboratory building. In 1932, the collection was named the Army Aeronautical Museum and placed in the WPA building from 1935 until World War II. In 1948, the collection remained private as the Air Force Technical Museum. In 1954, the Air Force Museum became public and was housed in its first permanent facility. Building 89 of the former Patterson Field in Fairburn, which had been an engine overhaul hangar. Many of its aircraft were parked outside and exposed to the weather. Through the 1960s, Eugene Kettering, son of Charles F. Kettering, led the project to build a permanent structure to house the collections and became the first chairman of the board of the Air Force Museum Foundation. When he died in 1969, his widow Virginia took over the project. Her determination, logic, and meticulous attention kept it on track, and the current facility opened in 1971. Not including its annex on Whitefield proper, the museum has more than tripled in square footage since 1971, with the addition of a second hangar in 1988, a third in 2003, and a fourth in 2016. The museum announced a new name from the facility in October 2004. The former name United States Air Force Museum changed to National Museum of United States Air Force. The museum is a central component of the National Aviation Heritage Area. The museum's collection contains many rare aircraft of historical or technological importance and various memorabilia and artifacts from the history and development of aviation. Among them is the Apollo 15 Command Module Endeavour, which orbited the moon 74 times in 1971. One of 4 surviving Convair B-36 Peacemakers, the only surviving North American XB-70 Valkyrie and Boxcar, the Boeing B-29 Superfortress that dropped the Fat Man atomic bomb on Nagasaki during the last days of World War II. Number 1. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a museum and hall of fame located in downtown Cleveland, Ohio, United States, on the shore of Lake Erie. The museum documentations the history of rock music and the artists, producers, engineers, and other notable figures who have influenced its development. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Foundation was established on April 20, 1983 by Ahmet Ertegun, founder and chairman of Atlantic Records. After a long search for the right city, Cleveland was chosen in 1986 as the Hall of Fame's permanent home. Architect IMP designed the new museum, and it was dedicated on September 1, 1995. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Foundation was established in 1983 by Ahmet Ertegun, who assembled a team that included Rolling Stone publisher Jan S. Wenner, record executives Seymour Stein, Bob Krasnow, and Noreen Woods, and attorneys Alan Grubman and Suzanne Evans. The foundation began inducting artists in 1986. But the Hall of Fame still had no home. The search committee considered several cities including Philadelphia, home of Bill Haley, an American bandstand; Memphis, home of Sun Studios and Stax Records; Detroit, home of Motown Records; Cincinnati, home of King Records; New York City, and Cleveland. Cleveland lobbied for the museum, with civic leaders in Cleveland pledging $65 million in public money to fund the construction, and citing that WJW disc jockey Alan Freed both coined the term rock and roll and heavily promoted the new genre, and that Cleveland was the location of Freed's Moondog Coronation Ball, often credited as the first major rock and roll concert. Freed was also a member of the Hall of Fame's inaugural class of inductees in 1986. In addition, Cleveland cited radio station WMMS, which played a key role in breaking several major acts in the US during the 1970s and 1980s, including David Bowie, who began his first US tour in the city, Bruce Springsteen, Roxy Music, and Rush, among many others. This was all about State Ohio. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Do share with your friends and family. Thanks for watching.